Natasha, please, you are not recognized to speak from there. That is the order of the Senate.
Sir, order 10 on privileges. Order 10 on privileges.
Senator Natasha.
Any senator may rise at any time to speak upon a matter of privilege suddenly arising, and he shall be prepared to move without notice, declaring that the content of breach of privilege has been
suspension immediately.
So we've been watching the event that happened between Senator Akpabio, Godswill Akpabio, the Senate President, and Senator Natasha Akpoti, yesterday on the floor of the Senate. And the backlash has been enormous. I am so glad that Senator Natasha stood up, and she's fighting back, because this is not something that is a one-off. This is something that Akpabio has been doing to not just Senator Natasha, but also to Ireti Kingigbe. He's done it to Senator Ireti Kingigbe. And the interesting thing is this, as you'll see in a few minutes, that when this happened to Akpabio during the time of Saraki, he didn't like it. So I am thinking that he's found a way to think of ways to bully these ladies. He wants to force them out, or otherwise maybe force them to come over to the side of the APC. This is not Nigeria. As we react to how ineffective a Senate President Akpabio has been, do not just look at it on the surface. Look at it as part of the intimidation tactics, because they know 2027 is coming, and they know that most of them will lose their seats as long as Nigerians stand up against them. And this is an indication of what is to come. So they're trying to force as many of them into their party, APC. You can see a lot of the campaign happening from PDP to APC, and recently another Labour Party state senator, they come to the APC. Those are subtle pressure. This is part of what they promised Tinubu they were going to do, really, so that he would have a rubber stamp Senate. He can just borrow whatever he needs to borrow, and they'll pass it for him. Do you understand? So let me play this, and you can see the aftermath of what happened between Akpabio and Saraki. When that happened, the time it happened.
Microphone in that place, and you should move. That is why I'm now, as you are now the president, we're going to carry on.
Mr. President, with due respect, all I expect from this Senate today is a letter of apology. It's an apology to me, not even by way of letter, even verbal apology.
That's Akpabio asking for apology. Now, if you're wondering what happened there, they've had a fallout about this whole speaking thing. This about sitting allocation and stuff like that. And the sergeant at arms had been told by Saraki to say, move Akpabio to another place where there was microphone. Akpabio said, no, it doesn't want to move. And he said it was the sergeant at arms that actually said he should do that. But the point here is after the entire kerfuffle happened, Akpabio here then says he deserves and he desires an apology. This is the stupidity that comes from our Senate. This is the stupidity that comes from this Senate leader. I'm sorry to use the word stupidity, but the ineffectiveness, lack of capacity of the kind of people that we have at the ends of affairs is what really triggers and troubles all Nigerians.
I represent a constituency. I know my constituency. If the clerk of the Senate has authorized that I should sit here, and I was so embarrassed here today, we cannot run the Senate on a partisan basis. We must be bipartisan.
Senator Akpabio, it's not.
Let me pause here for a minute. And let me say this. He's saying that we have to be bipartisan. He's telling Saraki he has to be bipartisan. And it's exactly the opposite thing he was doing to Natasha Akpoti. Being very, very partisan. Like I said, Nigerians don't just fall for just the gimmicks of this open humiliation and bullying that It was meeting out on Natasha yesterday. Don't fall for it. Look at it from the different perspective. Why is he picking on these two ladies? Why is he picking on Ireti Kingigwe? Why is he picking on Natasha Akpoti? He wants them on their side. He wants them on their side because they know 2027 will be tough for them. Okay, so and if you're meeting this content for the first time, please, I'd like for you to like, share, and also subscribe. Put your comments in the comment section below as well. Okay?
Being partisan, you are sitting in a place where we do not allow people to speak. All you had to do was to move to a place. So now that in a place of microphone, you can go ahead and speak, and then we make progress. Yes.
Even PDP apologized to Nigerians. What is the big deal? Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the President of the Senate has agreed that I require an apology, and maybe that will be discussed later.
This man literally here was asking for an apology. He was literally asking for an apology. This is the point I am making. This is the point I am making. What we currently have are a group of elected officials who have no idea or understanding why they're there. And one of the chief of those sort of elected officials is this man called Godswill Akpabio. And I want to say to those people from his state, from his local constituency as well, these are the kind of people we need to get rid of from the Senate next year, next 2020, next election. Akpabio does not deserve to be sitting there and representing you. I am literally saying that Akpabio does not deserve to be representing your constituency. It doesn't deserve it. So if you're sitting right there and you're thinking, what must we do to get him out of office? The answer is simple. Vote him out, 2027. Vote him out. Don't give him the opportunity to come and make mockery of Nigeria again. Nigerian Senate is at this particular point in time is ineffective. Since Akpabio took over, Nigerian Senate has been quite ineffective. So I'm saying to Ireti, if you look at Natasha's, when she stood up, this is something I look at the body posture a bit. When Natasha stood up, guess what? She stood up with her head bent one way. Women know how to do that thing. So if you look at it properly, you will see it. You'll realize she was ready this time because that would tell you that it wasn't the first time. When she stood up, you will realize, skip over to the beginning of this video as well again, and you see when she stood up, look at her head. When women are ready to fight, they come up with that head as a way of fighting, really, and part of their defense and attack at the same time. And that's how Natasha Akpoti stood up. Because that's how you would know that this has not been happening. This is not the first time it's happened. And there've been silent treatment like that has been going on that we have not seen, the public hasn't seen in the open. So this was one avenue for her to say, you know what, enough is enough. I've had enough of all your wrong dealings with me. We're going to settle this court today. And it's a good thing that Nigerians saw it and reacted to it. Now, I played the other video as well where he was demanding an apology from Saraki on purpose because I want to see whether or not when it comes to the Senate plenary floor or Senate floor next time, it would apologize to the lady, Natasha Akpoti. Let's see whether it's going to apologize. Listen, Nigerians. Listen, for all of us, all Nigerians demanding the kind of change that we want to see in our country. For Nigeria to move forward, we have to be bold. We have to be courageous. We have to be determined. And we have to want it. And we have to be deliberate. For Nigeria to move forward, we must take our future in our own hands and fight to get it. Because if we continue to live in the hands of these corrupt individuals, These politicians who are ineffective, who cannot do any good for Nigeria, they will continue to ruin Nigeria. For Nigeria to be able to move forward, and for our children and our grandchildren to have a better future, we have to fight back to get the country that we want. If you have a vision of what Nigeria needs to look like, don't relax. Don't sleep. Go and start preparing for 2027 now. If you don't have your PVC, go get it now. It makes the work twice as much easier when we get to 2027, because they'll do everything possible to rig that election, and they'll do everything possible to not release or give you your PVC as they did in 2023. So if you want a better future for Nigeria, I'm asking you, go make one happen. Start to get rid of all these politicians who don't have your best interest at heart. And we need to do that now. And to the likes of Senator Natasha Akpoti and Ireti Kingigbe, my advice to you, don't cross carpet to APC or PDP. They are one and the same. Because if you do, come 2027, you will be a victim of your own decision, because Nigerians will vote you out. Clean, simple, and clear. We just want to have a good candidate across all lines, from presidency all the way to the local government, and see what will happen. The change that we want is close. Nigerians are fully dissatisfied at this particular point in time. So I'm telling all of you Nigerians again, if you want a Nigeria that has a future, if you want a Nigeria that has a future for you, for your children and your grandchildren and generations to come, if you want a Nigeria that would work for everybody, as long as they can put in the work, take this Nigeria in your hands and fight to see it come to pass. Because if you leave it in the hands of these politicians, they will use the thugs, they'll use the INEC, they'll use the judiciary to continue to steal. We must fight for the Nigeria we want and be determined to have it. Because if we don't, we would not get the kind of Nigeria we desire. So I say to you again, fight for Nigeria. 2027 is change time. Let's just get rid of people like Godswill Akpabio and this APC government sent from hell. Thank you. Bye. Again, please like, share, and subscribe. God bless you. Bye for now.